Welcome everybody to today's agency podcast. And today I have an absolutely amazing guest in the space. If you're longer in the space, you should know him. If you don't, you have been maybe living under a bridge. And this is my good old friend, old business partner, Mr. Leevi Eerola. Welcome, Mr. How are you doing today? Tell the people, if the people don't know you, tell the people a little bit who you are and what you do, man.
Damn, first of all, thank you. It's great to be here. It's absolute honor to finally be able to do this. And yeah, if you don't know me, probably in all simplicity, my name is Leevi Eerola. I've been doing lead gen, cold email, B2B outbound for, I don't know, since 2018, maybe it's a good year. So a pretty good while now. And we run a company called Agent Velocity, where we grow agencies and work with different kind of service-based firms. And I don't know, a hard question, man, to start out with. Maybe that's the intro. I do cold email a lot. I do cold calls. I build sales teams, and yeah, that's my intro, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Levi is fully in the trenches still, but it's actually for me, it's really fire. So basically, he's running agency velocity. If you have watched my channel already for some time, you know that there was a time in my life where basically I went just from zero, basically living in a friend's pool house again into 6 months doing like 35K with my agency. And Levi was a massive part of that, right? Because I joined AB and there was we had a community at this time which just ripped it, man. It was so amazing. We did marathons together. We had meetups in Tallinn and stuff like this. It changed my life in such a way. So that's I'm really grateful to Levi. And he helped so many of us, like so many people that you see as well in Limitless Reward, all ran through Agency Velocity as well. So we have a lot of similar clients. I got a lot of clients from Levi, so I'm also grateful for him. And yeah, he is really walking the talk, and that's why people look up to him so much. Like I said, I would not be there today if it would not be him. And yeah, Levi, let's talk about this because you said you are like in the game since 2018, right? It's a fucking long time. What would you
Yeah.
say? Like, what has changed since then? Well, sorry to interrupt your video, but it's for something important. I know exactly that only 20% of you will watch this video until the end, and I don't want you to miss out. I have a new school group, all right? And if you like my content, you have to join the school group because there you're going to find my best shit from now on. And it's completely free. And I have something super special for you. I have created a course for you that I call the Natural Success Code. And what I'm going to do there is teaching you in 7 days exactly how you can find all your hidden mental blockers and get your natural success mindset back that you had as a kid before society installed all the bullshit. So if you like my shit, join my school group below. The link is below. Sign up right now and I'll see you inside. And now continue the video. I would watch it to the end if I would be you because it's fucking fire.
Damn, that's a good question. And actually, to make a small correction, like I've been in Outbound since 2015.
Fuck, it's
That was
10
my
years.
first. That was my first outbound job, but that was like B2C side, so it doesn't really count the same way. 2018 was my first B2B like outbound experience, and yeah, the game has changed a lot. It has changed a lot, and I'd say the biggest change has been just naturally market sophistication. In a way, things were way easier back then because if you sent out a cold email, like no one was sending out cold emails back then, so you would get crazy response rates, crazy open rates, like crazy. Like I remember, like our benchmarks being like 5% meeting book rate, right? If I sent 100 emails, like if we didn't book 5 meetings from those 100 emails, like it was a failed campaign. It's crazy, right? Like now, if I get 10% of that, I'm like, fuck yeah. So in another way, it was easier, but also on the other hand, it was harder in a lot of ways because the technology and strategies and tactics and just overall knowledge wasn't there. So running campaigns was 10 times more expensive, so much harder. It was so time consuming to build anything because there was like no tools, no tech, no AI. So yeah, I don't know. It has changed a lot with good things and also with the bad things.
I mean, I remember I'm in the game since 2020 as well. And like obviously we started completely without AI, what you cannot imagine today, right? It's like fuck
Yeah.
me. And And like, if I think back as well, I like my first time, I did not know you. I remember I was just like seeing another guy at this time that was doing this, and I was like, okay, how does he do that? And I remember I started copy and pasting emails, right? I was working
Yeah.
for a company that I had to send out emails to all golf clubs like in Europe and stuff like this. And the startup was just copy and pasting, like right, like copy and paste 50 emails a day. And I was like, bro, this is stupid. There must be a way to do this differently. And then I remember I found a software that's called Sales Handy. I don't know if it's even still existing.
I think
And I
it is.
remember,
I think it
I
is.
think it does, right? I bought one domain, two mailboxes, and I smashed 1,000 emails a day. Bro, and it was working. Maybe it was disconnecting every week once
Yeah.
or something like this. But then I just wrote to Cesar, I'm like, hey, can you connect this again? And then it was working again. I had two free links in my first email. It was a complete disaster, bro.
Yeah.
But it just ripped in this time, right? They're like, this is the good thing because when I remember, like today, the big topic is overly developability, bro. Like I didn't care about developability.
Yeah.
I was like, until somebody told me about, it, I was like, what, like developability? And I was like, after like my first campaign completely crashed, I was like, okay, there is something on this developability thing. But before that, I was already sending 200,000 emails, like with 1,000 positive responses and stuff like this. I did not really care when I started out. And also, obviously remember when we started out and there was the first AI coming and you were like, hey, I've seen you living in New York. Are you a Knicks fan?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I like honestly, I don't think maybe someone can confirm this who ran one of these companies because there was a lot, but I don't really think that like calling that AI was for sure a bit of a scam, right? Because like it was just like an XY if X then Y algorithm, right? Like I don't think there was any intelligence behind that shit, right? It was just like like if yeah, it was just like a yeah, it was funny times back then for sure.
Mhm. Like talking about AI, obviously, like what do you see about it? Like what's the chance? What's the danger? Like how do you see it in general for humanity? Maybe start first of all with this and then we can go more into biz related stuff. But how do you see AI?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and you already see this, and obviously there's a lot more smarter people talking about it that probably you should listen if you're actually interested in it. But at least from my point of view, I think the biggest thing is like people are just like getting cooked as like hard as hell. Like everyone's like frying their brain really hard on AI. Because obviously, and MIT did a great study on this, and there's been a million studies on this, and just makes sense. When you do any kind of creative thinking or like critical problem solving, or you're like thinking really hard, what you're doing is you're having these like neural pathways in your brain like working really hard to for example come up with creative ideas for a campaign,
Mhm.
and it's like a muscle, right? The same way like you train your bicep, you train your like critical thinking muscle, and that's why how people become really creative people, or they get really they become really great problem solvers, or they become whatever, because you do a lot of the thinking, these neural pathways in your brain get stronger. But then if you start every single time and you need to come up with an idea for a campaign or you need to solve some kind of problem, if your first instinct is to go and ask ChatGPT, what's going to happen is you don't use these neural pathways in your brain anymore. And because our brains are extremely efficient and they're always optimizing for efficiency, they are not going to be maintaining these pathways anymore, and they're actually going to be weakening these pathways. And in some extreme cases, if you don't use them at all, it's like they're going to be complete like killing the neural pathway that, for example, helps you do your creative thinking. So then at some point, and I believe surely people are already at the stage where you lose your natural ability to, for example, solve hard problems or think creatively. And I'm sure everyone watching this, if you've ever used, for example, ChatGPT, like some of you notice this where you think like ChatGPT goes down or Cloudflare goes down and you don't have ChatGPT anymore and you need to do some really fucking basic task. You need to write an email that like 3 years ago was like the easiest thing ever, like writing an email. You go and write an email now and you can't do it. You're just like fucking cooked, right? Like you're just like, you literally can't write it because your these neural pathways that used to do that work for you are dead. So without ChatGPT, you're like just brain dead. So I think that's gonna be the biggest thing that we'll see is the people who maintain these harder thinking abilities, they'll probably have an advantage in the future if ever we would lose access to AI as we have it now.
Interesting. How do you practice it for yourself then? Like, are you still going by the drawing board and don't use AI when you're doing your stuff? Or like, I'm really curious about that too.
Yeah, I try to not use AI a ton, or I have specific tasks where I don't use it. If I'm creating a Google sheet, or if I'm doing some math, or if I'm doing some data entry, of course I run it through all through ChatGPT, whatever. Or if I'm coding, like I don't fucking know how to code, and I don't really care to know about it. But if I'm doing actually, let's just say, strategical work for a client's offer, or I'm doing market research, or I'm trying to come up with an angle, or I'm trying to write a VSL or whatever, generally speaking, I'll always do it first, just without any AI tools or anything. Again, that can also be inefficient because if you look at Stefan Georgi, for example, one of the best copywriters right now in the world, and has been for the last decade. Obviously, he's like really big into writing copy with AI, and that's like his whole thing, the efficiency of writing copy with AI. So a lot of people look at him as like, if Stefan Georgi writes copy with AI, surely I should do as well. But at least I feel like my skill level and Stefan's skill level and experience is so big that like he can get away with it. He can still like, even if he fries his whole brain, like he'll still write 100 times better copy than I ever will, no matter like what happens to his or my brain. It's like he's so ahead. So I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to still get better. I think like you stop getting better once you start using AI for a lot of those tasks. So I'm still trying to get better. That's why I don't use it for a lot of tasks.
Interesting, man. Very interesting. So, like, for example, I mean, your emails, I love reading your emails. Your emails, you write them completely without AI.
I usually write them by hand, and then I'll have AI format them if I'll just like write them like hardcore like this. And some of them, yeah, it depends. Like 50-50.
Okay, so you're still using it a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I
If I write like super garbage formatting, then I just take like my past and emails and I just tell AI like, hey, format it like this. So like editing. But once again, I think that the strategical, the fundamental, actual copywriting work there, like I'll try to do it to the best of my ability. I'll try to do it from my own brain. If sometimes I get lazy, obviously, and sometimes I don't. I don't have the time, right?
yeah,
So then I'll cheat a bit. But yeah, I'm trying to do it
yeah.
better.
I mean, I think one thing that pulled me in, and I think a lot of others as well, was exactly your kind of how you wrote copy. I remember your first document, and there was no AI, so it was all
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Right? Like, what was the one, the Ferrari Spirit one that you did, the massive Google Doc?
Yeah, there's been
It
a lot
was
of
fire,
them.
man.
There's been a lot of them. I remember the first one we did was, I think, around like 80 pages. Then the second one we did was 113. That probably took me over 100 hours to write that. Write the document. Yeah, it's like hardcore. But yeah, I think once again, and still to this date, when I write sales letters and sales letters, because I do it still for clients or for ourselves, I still don't use any AI to do it. Because yeah, I just want to still get better, right? And again, if you look at the MIT study on it, obviously, if you, for example, write a big sales letter with AI, surely you can do like super fucking good stuff, and you can be really good, and you can like probably write better than the average copywriter out there with AI. But then again, what happens is the amount of stuff that you internalize and actually remember from the sales letter is like super small. 24 hours later, you don't remember 90% of stuff in the sales letter if you just like wrote it with AI. So I think it just makes like getting better. It makes improvement like way harder when you're doing that. You're like trading a different skill. You're maybe becoming better with using AI, but as like actual marketer or a salesperson, I don't think, at least from my eyes, you're not really getting better. So yeah, I don't want to stop learning it. So that's why I don't like it much.
I love it. And what's your process then?
In terms of what?
Like basically, let's say grading a sales letter.
Um, at this point, it's pretty much the same. That like we have done it so many times at this point that it's pretty standardized.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the biggest thing is just market research, market intelligence, and getting those insights. Reading Reddit, reading Facebook, reading LinkedIn groups, watching at call recordings. It's an offer. If it's an offer that we've already done calls for, watching call recordings, doing market research calls and doing interviews, watching YouTube videos from the niche, watching other people's VSLs, reading other people's sales letters if they are in the same niche, and just gathering the insights. Because if you get the right insights, if you get the right market research, then you don't like. There's not that much creativity that has to go putting the. I think it's I can't remember what was the name. Um, fucking whatever. The guy who wrote monetization, David O'Dowd or something like this. David O'Dowd, something. Caleb O'Dowd, I think. He said it really well that he's an extremely fantastic copywriter trained by Gary Halbert back in the day. He said that he's the least creative copywriter, but he's really good at putting together like already existing information or something along these lines, assembling information into great sales letters. So I think if you just go like hardcore on research and you get insights that other people don't have or ChatGPT might not like bring to you, then it's not. Then it's just like putting these plays into together, creating the headlines, creating the subsections, creating the core concept, all based on just what you know about the market, and that's like what I used to try to focus on.
So you guys, if you see that and you want to have somebody that really does it old school style, you go to Leevi, then you at least pay for something. Because I mean, like, people charge like 5K for a fucking VSL and they just do it with AI. It's a joke if you really think about it.
Yeah, I think there are rare occasions. Again, if you look at Stefan Giorgio, or if you look at a lot of these like really good copywriters out there, they can use Claude or ChatGPT or whatever they use, and they can still write fucking way better copy than I can manually, but they write it with AI. They can still fucking crush me like hard as hell, and they can like do 100 times better work than the average copywriter because they're just so good and they actually know what good copy looks like. But I think paying those people and working with those people is probably super smart, because you're getting someone who used to charge 50K for a sales letter and now they charge 10 because they can do it with AI. So you're getting like a 50K quality sales letter. But I think the biggest danger is working with the people who are not good copywriters and they're able to be like average because of ChatGPT, but they like know fucking nothing about whatever they're doing. So I think those are like the dangerous deals to or services to buy.
I 100% agree. Okay. And like, what do you think if we go back to email? Like, what do you see? How did you see, where do you see it going there? Like, because like right now, like the thing that I see, right? I don't know if you have the same opinion as me, but like right now, everything that is AI based, like you can just smell it from 5 meters away. Like it's just so obvious. Like to really write copy with AI that like, I mean, you know, when it all came out and you had some crazy relevant stuff that you put out, hey, I've seen it, you're doing this, you're 20 years in, I don't know, in the fitness industry, you know what I mean? Stuff like this. And that's why maybe you understand what posture is, blah, blah, blah. So you could come up with stuff like this and people were like, wow, right? But today it's just so obvious. So like, where do you see it going? Like, does it go into a direction where it goes more and more AI more relevant, or does it maybe even go back a little bit to completely natural style, not using AI at all? Like, what do you see here, especially in the cold email world?
That's a really good question. I think obviously one thing that is going to be big for the next coming years is going to be the manual shit that you can't really automate, right? I think a great example of this is cold calls. Obviously, 4 or 5 years ago, before cold email was like really, or like before cold email was like mainstream in a way that it's right now, in this automated way, and before like everyone had an Instantly account and everyone had a Clay account, I think there was a lot of people who were doing cold calling and they hated it. And then cold email came along, so they could stop cold calling, and it was really fun. So then like everyone started doing cold email, and like the pendulum swung like really hard here, where everyone was doing cold email. And then it went so far in the other direction that it started losing a little bit of its power. And now things like cold calling are working like fucking crazy. Like I can book 30 meetings in a week. We can book 70 meetings in a week doing just cold calls alone, just manually fucking having 1 or 2 people on the phones. It's crazy. 70 calls, 200 calls a month, just cold calling. Extremely good economics. So I think that's going to be a big thing. Doing things like cold calling, events, maybe knocking doors is going to come back. I don't know. And right,
Uh-huh.
direct mail maybe is going to be big.
Interesting.
Gifting campaigns could be big. I don't know. But cold calling we are seeing like fucking crush. And then second thing, I think on the email side, you can compete on two things. Because really, when you think about it, for you to have a really good cold email campaign, you have to beat other people's campaigns, right? If you have a prospect, you have John here. John is the CEO of a SaaS company, whatever. John gets 100 emails a day, right?
Mhm.
But John only has the time or brain capacity or energy to open 10 of them and respond to 5 of them or 3 of them, right? So you have to beat like 95% of the campaigns for you to have like any chance of actually getting any results.
Mhm.
So I think there's two ways you can compete, and these don't cancel each other out. Ideally, you would be doing both. But generally speaking, I think there's two ways. There's the really tactical way, which I think a lot of people fall into. So this is having better clay campaigns, having better data enrichments, having better deliverability, having like more clever email like clay angles and right like all this shit, like having better tools and tactics. You can
Mhm.
compete there and you can build really campaigns, good campaigns by doing that. And then there's the more strategical side where we can beat these people by having better targeting, having better offers, having better offer economics, having like understanding the market better and just like being a better marketer or offer builder, whatever the fuck, right? And I think these are the two ways and two avenues that you can compete in. And once again, I think as the tactics get easier and easier to access. Using Clay gets easier and easier. Using AI gets easier and easier. Everyone starts to have a Clay account. Everyone starts to have the same data. Everyone plays with the same infrastructure. The big moat is going to be on the strategical side, and that's going to be the harder side because ChatGPT can't help you with that, or a Clay workflow can't help you with that. It's something that you fundamentally have to think and figure out, and you actually have to go and apply like good marketing and sales principles, which is going to be harder, right? Because it's harder, it takes more time, less people are going to do it. So I think in the long run that's where a lot of the money is going to be made, because if everyone has the same tactics, same infra, same tools, only way to beat them is having better offers or having better offer economics or being able to do better targeting. And uh, and yeah, I think that's going to be where it's going to evolve in the coming years.
Interesting, very interesting. I see it going in two directions as well. I mean, there will be like, I don't know, like, what do you think? Because I mean, I see now, for example, Smartlead already having now their own database as well, where you basically don't need to go anymore. I mean, Apollo anyway is almost dead. I mean, there's still people that scrape it, but God knows how good the data is, right? But like Smartlead now comes up with their own database, which makes a lot of sense because the same does Instantly, I believe, as well, right? So like, what do you think? How long will it take until you just go to an agent and say like, look, this is the campaign that I want to do. Find the leads, find the thing, basically do the whole thing. Like the whole fulfillment part, the fucking agent is doing. How long does it take until we are there?
Probably not long. Probably 6 to 12 months, honestly. Like,
Exactly.
but again, I think that's right. That's like, in a way, that's a good thing because if everyone has access to, let's say, Smartly or Instantly creates
Hmm.
this agent that like builds you the whole thing, sets up the domains, scrape the leads, does everything. If everyone has access to that, everyone pretty much has access to the same level of campaigns, right? So
Yes.
there's no competitive advantage. Everyone is gonna get like that's gonna be the average, right?
Yeah.
You being able to do that is gonna be the average or a little bit above the average, maybe.
Hmm.
So then if you want to outperform the competition, if you want to get above average results, you have to find your competitive edge somewhere else, right? So for example, being able to create a better offer or being able to structure your sales process or business economics in a way where you can, for example, do free lead magnets or do like free campaigns or do whatever, right? And it's still going to make sense economically. And I think once again that's gonna be harder to do. I think less people will be able to do it at a good level. Less people are gonna want to do it because people are naturally lazy. They want an AI agent to do it, so they don't want to do the hard shit. So I think it's gonna give a massive opportunity to the people who are willing to go to like the maximum and just like maximize their campaign performance. and yeah, like a great example right now, the campaign, my last cold email campaign just finished last week.
Mm-hmm.
I can say like from the metrics, it's outperforming probably like 95% of cold email campaigns out there. Like I'm 100% sure, at least 95%. Like from like meeting book rates and like leads to deals ratio and cash collected per lead ratio. Extremely, like it's top 5% campaign, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
There is zero personalization, zero clay. There's not, it's like the same structure, same shit that we did like 2021, right? It's like the
Mm-hmm.
exact same shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I only think there is like the sales process is really good, offer is really good, business economics are really good, framing, positioning, everything else is really good. Everything else is like min-maxed. The appointment setting process, show up process, sales assets in the sales process are like all min-maxed. So I think that's where a lot of the money is going to be made in the coming years. Because ChatGPT can't do that shit for you, at least not yet, and I don't think it ever will be able to because it's like so nuanced.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, man. I like I'm asking obviously because I don't even have a Clay account right now.
Yeah, bro, same. I don't have even a fucking Clay account. Fucking,
It's okay. Like I'm doing like everything that I do. Like I literally what I did, what I started doing, what works really well for me, and that's a secret tip for me. If you have somebody that is a good SDR, so like the guy that I work with, I just told him, give me the email that you normally send out, like from a human being, like the one that you send out normally, and I just the only thing that I did, and I put it in a really nice flow. Because
mhm.
remember when we like this thing, I think where is it, bro? Yeah, I think Rob recommended me one day, right? The
Mm,
Bible, right? And like what I always will remember is that there's this slide, right? Where
mm,
you basically from the start, shoom, and you just go down. Like from the first moment that you read it, the subject line, then the first line, it needs to be like a slide until they say like this is my card, right? More or less like
mm.
this. And this is something that I'll never forget. And I think the best emails I've ever written, and mine also, bro, like I'm outperforming as well. My company is ripping, right? Like really ripping. I have like every day 7, 8 positive responses easy like that, right? And I'm sending I only have like 600 emails a day or something like
Mm.
this, right? So like really minimalistic, and it's very like I scale this up now next year, but this is where I'm right now. And I'm not using any kind of personalization, absolutely nothing. The offer is obviously killer, yes, but I do different campaigns, not just like the Tamer one. I do different stuff. But like I think one thing that is super important is like you said, nail the ICP down that it's one perfect ICP. And then what you need a lot of personalization. You know already everything about them anyways. Like this is this kind of specific person. Okay, you can put something in that is like specific to them. But the cool thing is like you can really write it in a flow because the best emails I've ever written, they just really flow.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think that's where there's gonna be still a big moat to be had, and just like all of the metrics and sales process. Not just the ones that you see on email campaigns. I think that's also a really big one. It's like if you look at a cold email campaign, right? Really, what is the goal of a cold email campaign or any outbound campaign? It's obviously to make money, right? To create profit, not just revenue, but to create profit. So a lot of people hyper obsess on open rate, reply rate, positive response rate, meeting book rate, right? Like these are the first four metrics of this like whole throughput funnel, right?
Mhm.
But in a lot of cases, it's going to be way easier to, for example, get a 2x here on the back end of the funnel compared to 2xing your response rate. If you're already getting a 3% reply rate, it might be really hard to get a 6%, right? You have to make big changes. But if you're able to increase your show up rate by 25%, closing rate by 20%, your profit margins by 15%, and your upsell rate by 33%, your churn taken from 30% to 15%, like boom, suddenly, I don't know, I'm not gonna fucking try to do the math, but that's a way bigger impact in terms of like profit per lead than like doubling your response rate. And a lot of times these are like easier to do, but a lot of people are just like so fucking hyper obsessed and like jerking off to like clay tables that they don't actually like want to think about the business, right? It's like fucking, they're like obsessed with like what is the best waterfall enrichment. Like I don't fucking care, right? if we both have the same call, if we both have the same exact call in our calendar, and on average that call is worth 2.5k in profit to my business and 1.2k profit to your business, like I don't fucking care what your client enrichment workflow is, like I'm gonna win every single time, right? So I think in a lot of cases, it's so much easier to optimize also the backend because there's more nuance and there's more mode because you can do it through salesmanship, better SDRs, better AEs, better offers, better proposals, better customer success, better upsell processes, right? And these are not the things that like people can't copy this because they don't see it. Like it's invincible. Only the customer sees it, and they don't even see the full thing.
Yeah, I love that. And I think this is such a good point what you said, because that's something that I realized myself, and I'm sure you as well. Because like what I always see is, obviously I see it as a funnel, right? And like what we basically do, first of all, is getting in positive responses. That's the top of the funnel. That's what comes in. All right. And then maybe we booking even meetings. But like very often, this is, for example, a problem then, like, okay, they book the meetings, then they don't have really good sales, but they don't really have good SDRs. Then they maybe even have, like, they have problems in the process, for example. Like I worked with a company, I can tell you this was a really good example, where I realized like I booked them like 30, like when I came in, they had like 0 meetings. Okay. Then I took over, so I booked them like 30 meetings in a month, but they didn't close anybody after the first month. I'm like, what you guys are doing? Like, what the fuck? Right. And like normally the thing what I always do is I follow the process, like basically from there where it comes in to until normally when it closes, like what's going on there. And then I realized what the problem was, right? So basically I saw that instead of, like, it was an ecom thing, an ecom service provider was this. And basically what they did is like they helped people to sell on other marketplaces through an integration. Okay. So the point was this, that it was like an Indian company, like the owner was Indian, and he had also like a big part of the company in India. So the point was this, that what I realized afterwards, what happens is like when the people said, yes, I want to do this, okay, they first of all booked them a meeting with the technical expert that was sitting in India. And this guy didn't even switch on his camera, spoke a fucking terrible English. And this guy's just fucking ghosted them. I'm like, bro, like, first of all, they didn't even close the contract. You send him to this guy. Obviously, nothing is going to happen, right? So I closed this bond. Like I said, like, look, go on the call together with this Indian guy and do it together with him. And boom, they closed like 15, 20 in a month. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like there's like you said, this is most of the time, it's not even the campaign. Okay, if the campaign runs well, but like the stuff that comes afterwards, this is the thing where you really can make the massive changes. Like, and
Yeah.
that's why also when you go in as a marketer, that's what I always do. And I see like I had a lot of clients where I brought them a lot of people and they didn't close. I'm like, okay, guys, you need a better VSL. So I sell you a better VSL. You need this, you need that. So you need to really help them with the process because they have no clue. Otherwise, they will not hire you.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are worried about cold email getting more popular or whatever outbound. God, cold email is getting saturated, yada yada yada, right? But I think it's just great because then it's if it's not the competitive edge anymore, like again, you can have a bigger impact. You can have a better moat because those are like the hard things for to solve. Like any retard can figure out how to do a clay campaign and send out 10,000 emails in a month. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing hard about it anymore. Maybe 5 years ago, like you could make money if you had that process.
Mhm.
Nowadays, there's like no money by like having that process. Like now the money is being like actually in those like small details, which are like hard to figure out. So I think it's great for anyone who's not an absolute retard.
And it's interesting because I speak with a lot of people. Obviously, you know that. I mean, obviously, I have a great network as agency owners as well. And a lot of them don't use a lot of AI, especially the
Yeah.
more successful ones, which is interesting. They have like
Yeah.
processes dialed in. They do like local or stuff like this. Don't need a lot of AI for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's interesting. So I'm really interested where it goes. But okay, let's go mm, into another question. I'm obviously interested. I mean, Levi is a full-time entrepreneur since many years. So obviously, the question that I want to also help, but maybe will also help the audience, like how you can stay on top like you are with everything without burning out. Because obviously, like this is something that a lot of people suffer from. Because like all this hustle culture, you know, like fucking work every day, like work fucking weekends as well, like you know, don't take a day off. Like how you see that, man?
That's such a good question, right? It's it's a funny question because I can for sure give an answer on that, but it's also I want to be super honest here. Like this is my probably biggest weakness in terms of entrepreneurship. I'm really bad at it. and it's like a lesson that I have to relearn like few times a year. Great example, like last week, right? I'm last week, specifically, this happened. I always know I like to go like really hard on work for a few months. I and For example, last 9.5 weeks, I just went back my calendar. I went back my time tracking sheet. Like I was averaging around like 88, like around 80 hours a week of like actual work for the last 9.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Some weeks going over 100, 110, 115, some weeks going 60, 70, right? But like average around like 80 hours a week for the last 9.5 weeks. And not just like 80 hours of sitting in front of the computer and scrolling Twitter, like actually dialed in, locked in work, good
Mm-hmm.
quality work. In those moments, I always feel that I'm invincible. And I feel, yeah, like no worries. I just can't keep going on. I'm young, I'm motivated, I'm this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to chill at one point, and then every single time fucking it just snaps, right? And I think burnout is a bit of an extreme word for a lot of these situations. How I would define burnout, I have some friends who've gone through actual burnout, and this is usually like not being able to work for years. I have friends who are extremely dedicated, motivated, super locked in, 10 times more locked in than I am. And they've gotten burned out, and this has led to them like not being able to work for years. In some cases, like never being able to go back into whatever work they were doing because they got like so cooked. So I would maybe use word like just fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe like the first steps of burnout.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a stupid thing that I find myself having to relearn over and over again a few times a year, of finding myself in a situation where I'm just fucking fried as hell. I have no motivation. I can't get out of bed. I'm feeling super sick mentally and physically. And I have to just stop everything for a week and then slowly ramp back up. Like this is what I'm like right now. I'm right now like ramping back up after having to take off like the last 5-6 days.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's so dumb. It's so dumb having to go through that learning phase again, or like not learning from that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for sure a big weakness of mine. And over the years, I've gotten better at recognizing the when it starts coming. But at least I haven't personally gotten to the stage yet where I'm able to predict it and then chill out and relax before it actually comes to like a breaking point, which is obviously a shame. But I think it's a hard skill, and at least I have not been able to get to the get to that point yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's tough, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I at least see it in a way like work is like if you think about a slingshot, right? You have like a rubber band slingshot. It's like in the beginning, if you start from zero, if you're not doing any work right now, it's like really easy to like do more work. It's really easy to start working from 0 to 40, 50, 60 hours a week,
Yeah.
right? And it's really easy to do for first 2 months. It's really easy to stretch back the slingshot. And the further you go, the harder and harder and harder it gets, right? Like once you're like third month, 4 month deep, fourth month deep, doing like 350 hours a month, it gets like super, super, super hard. And then at some point, when you release it, the slingshot, like the harder you have stretched it back, the harder it's also going to come back. And in the worst case scenario, you never actually like release it, and the rubber band just fucking snaps and breaks, and that's where you like burn out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the skill is being able to identify that, hey, now I have been going really hard for 3 months. Now it probably makes sense to take 1 or 2 weeks easier, and understanding that, hey, there's no point in feeling bad about it, and it's actually better for the long run. So yeah, it's that's I don't know. I don't know if that even answers the question,
No, no,
but that's my
definitely. I
yeah.
mean, thank you so much for sharing this and being so open with that, because I think that shows really vulnerability. And I think it will help for also a lot of people that are watching this. Like for me personally, like you know me, obviously, I'm a very chilled guy. So like I also love working hard, but I love taking time off as well. Like it's just something that I do. Like for example, I have this rule that I'm not working from Friday when like sometimes I make an exception, don't take me wrong.
Mm,
But normally like I'm stopping to work around 6, 7 on a Friday, and I'm not doing nothing until Sunday, like 3, 4.
that's nice. That's super nice.
I do this every weekend. I spend time with my wife, I spend time with my friends. and I just literally don't open my computer.
Mhm. That's
And
so
that's
profound.
really like for me, it's just really like I'm older as well, right? I'm WH, bro. Like, I was like this before as well. Don't take me wrong. I was in the hustle culture big time, right? But like since I'm doing this, I just feel so much more relaxed and this. And like another thing that I also recommend doing, to be honest, is like every 2, 3 months or something like this, also take like only like 3, 4 days off because the thing is like I take 3, 4 days off and I don't take my laptop with me,
Mhm.
right? Because if you take up a week or 2 weeks, you anyway take your laptop with you and then you're anyway working again. But if you
Yeah.
just don't take your laptop with you at all on your phone, you're not gonna do a lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this is also something that I do. Like I can recommend you doing that.
Yeah.
I think it's because like you know what is interesting. Have you read Relentless by Tim Grover?
I'm pretty sure that I have. It's such a familiar name. Relentless.
The
Probably,
guy who
yeah. Probably
trained Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
no, I have started, but I have not finished it. Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I wanted to point out, and also like if you read about maybe have read 10x is easier than 2x, that there he also
That
talks
I have.
about. And what he says, like what I think is fascinating, like if you look at people like LeBron James or Ronaldo, right? You know what is their number one most important thing in their planning, in their diary, in their calendar? Like what's the most important thing that they have the most priority on?
It'd be recovery.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy if you think about it.
Yeah. I agree. I
Makes you
agree.
think, food for thought, I think, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I think also you mentioned 10x is easier than 2x. I think in that book there's really I remember when I read it, I just read like the first maybe 1/3 because it got really repetitive after that. But I think the idea of 10xing your current situation is never going to come from working harder is something that again it's really easy to logically understand, and when I think about it and when I reflect it makes sense. I'm like, yeah, obviously for me the 10x, like it's not going to come from working harder. I have to prioritize strategy and thinking and all this stuff, right? But then in the moment it's really easy to get stuck into and having your emotions just lead the way of yeah, I have to be working harder and feeling guilty and feeling this and that, right? So I think from a logical standpoint, it makes sense to everyone why you should do it. But I think being able to recognize it in the moment that you're not really aligned with that, I think that's like the hard part,
Hmm.
at
Hmm.
least for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, but like what, for example, if you think about this idea to say like, let's take Saturday off, what happens in
Mm.
your body when you think about that?
Mm. No, what a great question. Saturdays off. Honestly speaking, I try to take Saturdays off. Like I have it written in my to-do list, but then like I never really end up taking it. And again, it's like in the moment, like if I'm planning my week, it logically makes sense why I would do it. Like, okay, I should do it because then I can be more recovered and I can be this and that and it's gonna be good for the long run. But then when it's Saturday and I'm feeling fucking great and I have a lot of energy, a lot of motivation, and I have like a big project, for example, that I'm working on, it's like, I might as well work on it. Like, what else would I do? I'll just work 4 or 5 hours on it. It's like chill. And then I do it. And in the moment, I don't feel like it doesn't really change anything. I don't feel any less, or I don't feel any worse. I don't feel any better. It's just like, why wouldn't I do it?
Hmm.
But then I think it's one of those things that it's gonna cost you 8 weeks later or 6 weeks later that you didn't take the Saturday off. So then when you're actually going through the pain or going through the negative emotions of having this fatigue, it's going to be hard to make the mental connection to the Saturday that you didn't take off because it might be 6 weeks in the past,
Hmm.
right? So then you naturally, with your reptilian brain, you immediately look, oh, what did I do wrong yesterday? I think I've slept bad the last 3 days, and that's why I'm feeling shit right now. But it might not be that. It might be like for the last 6 weeks you have not done something correctly, or 6 weeks ago you did something poorly. So I
Hmm.
think that's where a lot of the friction comes from.
Hmm. I mean, it's definitely the compound effect here, right? That's
Yeah.
basically what it's all about. And like this is something, for example, I teach this, and I think I'm very controversial to a lot of other coaches out there. I just tell to my people, take Saturday off. Because
Yeah.
I just, for me, it made such a massive difference since I'm doing
Yeah.
this. I'm telling you this, like, because like literally, like how can I call this? Like make it sacred, right? It's like really sacred to say, like, you know what? Saturday, I'm not touching my computer, I'm not touching my laptop. And also with that thought in there, this is so good for your mind to say just like, okay, I take a day off. Like it's just like it made for me like I said, I started doing this last year, like when I was almost having this burnout myself, and I was not really burnout, whatever, but it was like on the fence to it, right? I was like, ah, I don't want to do this anymore. I fucking hate my clients. I hate everything that I do. I fucking kill everybody, right? And then I was like, nah, bro, I cannot continue like this. And that's when I think I listened to some podcast that the guys told about. I don't remember what it was. But then I was like, okay, let's just give this a try and take Saturday off. And I started doing it start of this year, and I did it the whole year now, and it made such a massive difference for me. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I can highly recommend you doing it, Levi.
Yeah, it's for sure something that I acknowledge that it's something that I should do. I think I just have to figure out the way to do it, and I don't know. Like, there's no good excuse to it. It's like everything that I say is just gonna be coping to it. It's just simplicity, just have to do it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. But I think that's like that's for sure the biggest thing, and that's again from a logical standpoint, I at least believe one of the biggest differences that someone, for example, doing 1 million a month and 100K a month, like has, obviously there is a big difference in terms of skills, experiences, tactics, strategical knowledge, and processes, systems. There's big tactical differences like that. But I think one of the biggest differences between these two people, at least in my own experience, is their mindset and how they operate, how they feel, how they see the world, what limiting beliefs do they carry around, what like supporting beliefs they have, and just everything going inside their head. At least that's like what I feel is the biggest difference. If you look at Elon Musk, the reason he's able to do all these things, obviously extremely talented and all these things, but he's just able to think way bigger than anyone else. And he has different ways to solve problems and challenge different beliefs and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, like it makes sense why you would prioritize that. And like, again, 10x is not going to come from working harder, but yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. It's mystery why it feels so hard in the moment then.
Hmm. I think it's something that you should really reflect on a little bit more because I mean, you definitely want to continue ripping and hustling like you do for a longer time, and not that you really come one time onto the point because like your body is already showing you signals.
Yeah.
Like this thing is like when the body's like this is always funny because we don't fucking listen to it. Like they're like nobody cares about the health until it's gone, and then we say fucking it's the most important thing. Like bro, like
Yeah.
when I lost my hand, right? Remember last like not the last year, was last year,
I
it was
do.
last year, the year before, I think it was. It was not this year, the year before, right? So if you guys don't know, I basically got from I wrote like VSLs for Cialdini, and I got like I was like writing the whole day, like fucking for weeks, and then my hand went numb completely. So it's
Yeah.
still not perfect, by the way, right? Like it's still this is also something that always reminds me not to work too much, which is a good and a bad thing,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, like my like it's called Unavis syndrome. And like this finger was completely deaf, and this one is half deaf, and I had this for a year, and I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't almost not work. It was a really terrible thing. And I just also did not listen to it until I got this thing. And then maybe this was also a reason why I stepped back a little bit. Sometimes what I mean with this is like sometimes like our body is screaming at us and we still don't listen. And if
Yeah.
there's already this kind of signals, then it's really for us, it should be a sign to reflect really about like, okay, can I maybe change to give myself or my body a little bit more time just to relax and recover? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. But let's talk about talking about mindset. Obviously, that's my topic. Um, you said like this is the same thing that I believe as well. So like you also believe that the difference from somebody that is doing like even let's go lower because most of the audience maybe not doing that big money, but let's say the difference from somebody is doing 10K to doing 100K is mostly in the mind.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So like what you say, like for example, like because that's how I see it. Like I say like I think it's easy to get to 10K, even to 20K only with strategy and skills,
Mm.
right? But from there, the mindset is getting super fucking important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also just to get to like 10K, I think this is going to go like this could be said for any level, right? If you ask Jeff Bezos how to get to 1 million a month, he's gonna say it's easy, right? Like because his internal benchmarks for what is a lot and what is a little is so different, right? And again, there's the difference between us and Jeff Bezos. For him, $1 million a month is like literally not even worth doing. If he went to do it, then like he would obviously achieve it way faster, even like setting aside the skills or whatever, because he could be he wouldn't have the limiting blockers or limiting beliefs that someone else would have, right? So I think even like 10K a month, if someone is trying to get to that mark and they are not there yet, it's not your niche, it's not your offer, it's not your skills, it's not the tools you use, it's not the YouTube videos you watch, it's not the courses that you've bought, it's not the books you read, it's not your morning routine, it's none of these things. It's just the only thing literally is your like mind. That's the only thing that is standing in between. Because there's a lot of people that we've seen over like AV even over the years of like people come in and the people who don't have these kind of limiting beliefs around money, like they'll get there in 2 months, in a month, right? They'll go from 0 to 15K a month in 4 weeks because they don't have these limiting beliefs. Someone else comes in, to them $1,000 is a lot of money. It's gonna be really fucking hard for them to charge a client even $1,000 because they have so much scarcity in their mind and limiting beliefs around them being able to charge that. There, so it's just super fucking hard. Like no matter what they do, like they'll probably never get there before they get rid of these limiting beliefs. So I think that's probably, of course, the bigger you go, the more strategical and tactical things start mattering. Or like you can't run a $10 million a month company without like having some idea what the fuck you're doing.
It's
But
all in the mind, bro. Please
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
tell
but
me.
like but obviously all like on the same hand, like if you don't have the beliefs required to get there, like you'll never get there no matter what. Like you can have a fucking $1 billion a month skills, but if your mindset is thinking that 10K a month is big, like you'll probably never go past.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, man. This is such a good point. This is obviously exactly what I do, guys, what you know with Limitless Rewired. So if you want to get started there, like you want to work on your identity, then Limitless Rewired is the way to go, right? Or joining my
Ooh.
masterclass basically on next Thursday. If you want to learn more about it, because I think this is what you say is such a good point, because like that's exactly what I teach. I always say you can have all the strategies and skills in the world. Like if we bring it into a technical aspect, it's like I always say, like, if you learn all the strategies and skills, but you have limiting beliefs, you have imposter syndrome, you have perfectionism, you have all these kind of, it's like overthinking, all that stuff. It's like implanting good software on a computer with a virus. It fucking doesn't
Yeah,
work, right? When you remove the virus, the software works like it's supposed to be. That's just
yeah,
what it works. So that's why all the limiting beliefs and all that stuff, this is exactly what I do in my program is basically I go, I investigate every belief that ever has been installed in your brain and say basically, okay, does this help me or does it hinder me to go where I want to go? If it hinders me, boom, we have to remove it, we have to rewire it. Because the thing is this, we come into this world like empty. There's nothing
yeah.
inside. There's no beliefs, there's no doubts, there's nothing inside. Like the beliefs and doubts get installed by other people, by situations, by teachers, by education, by society, and so on. So, like, if they have been installed, they can be removed. That's the thing. And that's basically what I help you doing. So when we remove that and we put your identity up, if you don't believe that you are the agency owner that does 50K, if you don't have this identity, you're never going to be there. You can fucking
Mm,
hustle like you want to, you never get there. It's fucking possible, right? So
yeah.
that's why the mindset is so important, right? So I want to just point this out one more time. So yeah, great, man, Larry. Really appreciate that. So to my last question. And I think that's gonna be something that you can really give some wisdom here. So like
Boom.
if you are could give yourself an advice when you started out the first time doing all that what you do now with all the building all that up what you did and becoming that entrepreneur that you are, and you would start out, which advice would you give the old Levi starting out in like 2000, what was it, 2050?
Mm, damn. That's a crazy, crazy good question. What would I say? Yeah, I'd say really, really cliche, obviously, but cliches are cliches for a reason because they are true. I'd most likely tell myself not to second guess yourself, not to doubt myself for even a second, because obviously there's a million mistakes I've done, probably more. Crazy amount of mistakes, big fuck ups that I still make. But if I really look at like what has caused the most amount of negative emotions, negative feelings, negative experiences, time wasted, money wasted, I'd say every single time it has been me second guessing myself or not having full belief into what I'm doing. And obviously in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, if when I was 16 and I started my first business, which was e-commerce, like even though I'm not like right now, I don't know, maybe I don't really fucking care. If then I had just never guessed since 2016, if I had never second guessed that business model or my ability to execute it or my whatever tactical execution of that, like I would surely be a thousand times more successful and smarter, right? Like 100%. I think every single uh, like every single loss of opportunity or loss of potential could probably be tracked down to me doubting myself, me doubting the business model, changing businesses, changing strategies, changing tactics, just feeling bad, right? Just feeling stressed, feeling anxious because I'm not sure if it's gonna work out. So yeah, probably that probably would have to be it. Yeah, that probably would be if I only could give one would have to be it.
Lovely, man. That's great. Thank you so much, man. Okay, guys. So yeah,
Mm,
so Levi, thank you so much for joining. I think there was massive value for the
man,
audience, and I think it was absolutely great.
thank
So
you for having me.
yeah, thank you very much. And guys, I see you in my next video. Take care and see you soon. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.